Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to another multi-photo Monday. Today I'll be documenting these 3 photos of my daughter at the pumpkin patch, and I'll be using the Simple Stories Forever Fall collection. Now, if you would like to see any of my other fall layouts, be sure to check out the description box. I'll have those videos listed down below. Now, once you're done watching my video, be sure to check out the other ladies that's taking part today in the multi-photo Monday series, and I'll have all of their links listed down below in the description box as well. So let's go ahead and get started with this layout. So at first I wanted to use a pattern paper behind my photos as the background, but I just was not liking any of these pattern papers directly behind the photos. So here I decided to go with just the plain white cardstock instead behind the photos, and I will go ahead and mat that cardstock on some pattern paper instead. So I decided on these 2 pattern papers, and I cannot remember the name of these 2 papers at the moment, but I'll have all of the items that I use listed down below in the description box. So first up, I'll go ahead and trim my background cardstock, and I'm gonna remove 1 inch off 2 sides of this cardstock. So here I decided that I'll go ahead and mat the white cardstock on the red paper, and both of those will be mounted on this darker paper with the floral design. So that will remain a 12 by 12 sheet, and I am just gutting the middle out right now so I can use that on another layout. And here I'll begin working on the second mat on my layout. Now I'm just removing 1/2 inch off 2 sides of this pattern paper, and I'll go ahead and gut this paper as well. So I went ahead and lined up each of these layers so I can be sure I liked how it looked together, and I did. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead and adhere them all. And up next I'll go ahead and mat my photos. So the paper that I'm using to mat my photos would be from Golden Days 6x6 paper pad, and that's from Fancy Pants. And I also pulled out that mustardy yellow paper to use on my background as well. So I will be using that mustard yellow pattern paper from that 6x6 paper pad as the mat behind my photos. But I felt like it was just standing out on its own. It needed a little bit more of that design on my layout to pull it all together. So here I'm going to take the second sheet out of that paper pad and cut 2 strips and add it into the layers behind my white cardstock. So now I'm gonna add some mixed media to my background, and I decided to add some Distress Oxide inks in the color Carved Pumpkin that I'm applying right now. And up next, I'll add some broken china as well. Now, when I added the broken china, I loved the blue, but of course, when it mixed with that carved pumpkin, it created a little green tint. And I was not liking that at all, but I still continued on and continued to build my layers on my background. So I wanted to cover up a bit of the background in an attempt to save it and not have to start all over again. So I'm using this pattern paper, and then I'll go ahead and mount that mustard yellow paper on top of it. And this is where my ATG gun ran out of adhesive, so I'll reload my adhesive and then I'll continue adhering these pieces to my background. So next up, I'll go ahead and add my photos. And at this point, I still was not feeling the mixed media on my background. It felt like it weighed down my layout a bit. I wanted it to be a little brighter than it looked. It just looked a bit dull, and it just was not making my layers pop like I wanted it to. So right now I'm ripping off these layers off of my background, and I'll go ahead and attempt to fix that mixed media part of my layout. So I went ahead and cut off 1 inch off 2 sides of the cardstock like I did previously, and I inked the edges of my cardstock using the broken china Oxide ink pad. And here I'm just gonna add a little bit more of that broken china to the outer edge of that white cardstock. And that just helped bring out a bit more of the blue that you can see in the pattern papers from this collection. Once I'm done adding the Oxide ink, I will go ahead and adhere these layers back onto that background. So I'm definitely happier with how this background turned out, and now I'll begin working on my title. And you'll see in the next few moments, this title moved around just a few times on this layout before I was happy with where it was situated. And once I'm done adding my title, I'll go ahead and begin embellishing this layout. So here's my third attempt at placing this title, and I decided maybe I can split the word pumpkin in half, but it just was not looking right. So I decided to lay it alongside the layout instead. So the title My Pumpkin refers to my daughter in that photo where she's carrying that huge heavy pumpkin, and that's the one she decided on. So I decided to title it My Pumpkin because that's what she said. That was her pumpkin that she wanted. So up next I'll begin working on my embellishments, and I grabbed one of these wood veneer frames that I had forever in my stash. And I wanted to place it on the bottom left of my photos, and you can definitely add another photo in place of this embellishment, but I decided to go ahead and add this wood veneer frame instead. So here I'm just gonna go ahead and back the frame with a piece of the pattern paper that I use on my layers behind my white cardstock. And I also added a chipboard sticker to the center. And I'll just place that right next to my photos. I will tuck the bottom piece in under that bottom photo. Then I'm gonna grab my embellishment, my die cuts and cardstock stickers and so on from the Forever Fall collection, and I'll go ahead and sprinkle them around my page. So as you can see, I really wanted to add that leaf somewhere on my layout, but it just did not fit in anywhere else. So I'm gonna add some enamel dots to my layout now, and I've had these enamel dots in my stash for a very long time, and the sticky part of it came off, and it normally would come off on the sticker sheet itself. So I'm just gonna adhere them using that Scotch tacky glue in my fine liner bottle, and I'm just gonna add them to various areas on my layout. So at this point, the only bit of gold on my layout would be in my title that says "My." So I wanted to add just a little bit more on my layout. So right now I'm just adding some of those gold leaves. And next up, I'll be adding some splatters using the Liquitex Iridescent Gold Acrylic Ink. Now, if you have any questions at all about any of the items that I used today, please go ahead and ask in the comments down below. So I wanted my gold splatters to be a little bit heavier and bigger splatters closer to the clusters on my layout and appear a little lighter as it moved away. And right now I'm just adding a little bit to the top right of my layout as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please go ahead, give me a thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber to my channel, please go ahead, take a look around. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing today. Don't forget, click on the bell so you'll be notified once new videos have been posted. And be sure to check out the other ladies taking part today in the Multi-Photo Monday. And I will have some close-up shots coming up right now. I want to thank you guys for watching today, and until my next video, bye.